Coming up, Burn Baby Burn. Join us as we dissect the first trailer for Evil Dead Burn. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. And we are your host, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. Tex, how you doing today, buddy?
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. Oh, man. Evil Dead Burn. So, okay. We got the first teaser recently as part of, what was the movie? We just watched it and we just talked about
Oh,
it
The
here at the
Mummy.
Morgue.
The
Yes. So
Mummy,
I
yes.
totally forgot already. See,
Oh, I'm sorry. Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Yeah, that's how forgettable it was, Arturo. Like, we just saw it like a week or two ago, and I've already blanked it out of my head.
It's the same thing for a bunch of the stuff we've recently seen. So
yes, like
yeah.
I totally forgot it. Like that's how bad this is. So we got the first teaser trailer for Evil Dead Burn during Lee Cronin's The Mummy. You did, I didn't for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like sitting in that theater, so I was a bit disappointed. And it teased like something cool going on. Like it was just an attack in a house, and that was pretty much it. Like we just saw it in media res, as the official word is there. Okay, and now we've gotten the first full trailer for Evil Dead Burn, which has given us the story, which has given us like the actual look at what's going on. And boy, this is some wild stuff. Like it's so wild to the point where it's like, yo,
they wanted to wow us, Tex. They literally wanted to just wow us. I think they heard us talking about Wrath instead of Burn, and they were like, hey, we have to let them know what this movie's all about. And they dropped a banger on us. It was everything I didn't expect to see, honestly. It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. I'm not saying that I didn't like it. I'm just saying that I wish I saw a little less. That being said,
it's funny you bring that up too, right? Because like it does feel like it's too much, but in both senses of the word, right? Like it feels like it's too much in terms of like what we're seeing in this movie. It feels like we've seen a lot already in terms of like some of the gore and some, like especially the gore. Man, this thing is bloody, it's brutal, it looks cool. It looks like it's doing more than Rise, which is something I can say off the bat already. Like just by some of what we get in this trailer, right? Like the fingers getting cut off, the car thing through the face. Like there's a lot of that stuff in here, but also it's one of those things where is this too much in terms of a trailer, right? Like, are we getting too much of it already? Like, are they going so hard on it because it's like let's get the people in there, let's get people evil deading? I mean, remember Fede Alvarez's one from 2013?
Yeah, of course, that's my favorite one.
It's still the icon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the purists will go back to the 80s with the Sam Raimi ones, 1 and 2, but like you were saying though about the trailer here, they definitely wanted to prove something because I believe the talk around town when Evil Dead Rise came out that it didn't go far enough. Funny enough, that was another Lee Cronin movie. I feel like he went further in The Mummy than he did in Evil Dead Rise, which is a funny conversation to have. But I do feel like this trailer wanted to prove something, because if you guys go back to our archives, we spoke about the fact that they brought up Evil Dead Wrath way before we saw the teaser for Evil Dead Burn. And I think that was kind of a slap in the face to the filmmakers and the creative team behind Evil Dead Burn. And I'm pretty sure they felt a certain way about that, because Sam Raimi was even touting how Evil Dead Wrath, next year's Evil Dead movie, is going to be the scariest thing ever. And Evil Dead Burn hadn't even seen the light of day yet. So yes, it is a gratuitous kind of trailer. It is a red band trailer though. So they can do whatever they want with that. But I do feel like they should have held back some things in this trailer. I do like the gore. Don't get me wrong. The gore looks great. It looks it looks like we got more here than we actually did in Evil Dead Rise.
Right? Like it's funny, like this one trailer alone already looks more brutal than everything we got in Rise. Because
Yeah, then the whole 90 minutes.
I'm trying to think back to Rise, and I'm trying to think back to like the most memorable moments, right? And it's all character stuff, right? It's
Yeah, but
all
I mean,
like
like, yes, but it had its moments. But like I said, like Cronin didn't go too far. Like for instance, there was this infamous moment where one of the kids who turned into a deadite, the eldest one, started biting glass and chewing on glass. And we were like, it'd be cool if the glass could pierce her throat and her skin, but it never got that far. You know, it was just the crunching of the mouth and then the
right,
blood there. But we were like, why don't you take it a little further? But it was almost every aspect of that movie that just kind of reached that borderline there, but was kind of afraid to go a little over, I think, in terms of just trying to be more accessible to a wider
right,
audience, maybe.
right.
But this one is throwing all of that out the window, and we can see that exactly in this first trailer.
Yeah, like, if you're watching the footage on our YouTube version right now, like you can see how it's already like got a ton of brutality in terms of scale. Like the first major gore thing we get in this trailer is like the car seat piece
Yeah, the
going through
car seat
somebody.
going through the mandible, man. It's awesome.
And that's like and that's naturally probably like the first major deadite, I would assume. We always get one deadite that kind of leads the charge in terms of like personality, and the one that like says a lot of things and
Yes.
like gets into the heart of like the character work. Because at the same time, like, yes, Evil Dead is evil, but you got to like, these Deadites have to be evil, right? These Deadites have to like really dig in, do some really satanic, messed up stuff, and a lot of that is basically just mocking people and cutting into like their deepest thoughts,
Yeah.
their darkest secrets, and stuff like that. And that's probably what we're going to get with like the main Deadite. It seems to be a story about a family going through a loss in the family already, maybe of like the patriarch or matriarch. And it looks like our lead here is, she's the outsider, she's got pink hair, she's the black sheep of the family, that kind of thing. Maybe
Yeah.
she's coming back to the funeral for the first time in a long
Yeah,
time.
like, yeah, I mean, that is a good point because it is revolving around family, but she doesn't look a thing like the rest of the family.
Yeah.
So it could be like, because I know it is the death of one of the sons, right?
Okay, so there we
But
go.
yeah, but you know what's funny though? There was a scene in the trailer that kind of reminded me a heck of a lot of that intro scene in Evil Dead Rise, where they're in that campground after.
The boat, right?
Yes. Yes. When they're, like, right in that campground and she raises out of the water, right, after the scalping and all that,
Hmm.
and I'm curious if that's connected. I'm gonna have to go back to Rise and see if, what the characters there are like, because the character that's dead in this one, his name is William, so I'm curious if that's the same guy from Evil Dead Rise from that sequence there.
I mean, that would be a cool way to tie these movies together, right? Like
100%.
if this turned out to be like a secret trilogy instead of three different directors doing their own ideas and takes on the franchise,
Right.
I think I would look at this a lot differently than I am, right? Because, like you said, they already advertised Wrath as like the wildest and scariest thing we're going to see. So it would make sense if that was the end of the trilogy, right? Like, cuz
Yeah.
the
Great
end of
point.
an Evil Dead trilogy, we I don't think we've technically gotten a full trilogy because, like Army of Darkness
Yeah.
technically wasn't a part 3, right?
Yeah,
Like it was.
exactly. And part 2 was pretty much part 1 with a bigger budget.
Yes, so like it would be cool because spoilers for the end of Evil Dead Rise, it was revealed that it was essentially a circular story, because we see the Deadite possession at the end in the
Yeah.
parking garage, and it leads into the boat scene in the beginning. So
Yes.
if that's the case with this one, and the boat scene is what causes the initial death that sets the chain reaction to this other family, that would be super cool.
That's something,
Oh,
right?
yes.
That would be something. It would be what, The Strangers chapters 1, 2, and 3 tried to be, but hopefully a little bit more successful than that, all ended up. But dude, that would be really cool because We never really got that, as you mentioned. It's weird that we've never gotten a proper
Yeah.
Evil Dead trilogy, you know, because
now that we've talked about it, right?
Yeah, I feel that they do well in the box office because the budgets aren't usually that big. And they're very well received critically as well. Like people might not love them like the originals, but Rise did well in theaters and made a decent amount of money, enough for them to make two more, right?
Yeah.
So that would be very, very dope of them if they did create this trilogy narrative around what happens in Rise and continues here in Burn and then ends in Wrath. That'd be something else, dude. I'd be like, bravo, because I didn't see that one coming at all.
Yeah.
But again, here in the trailer for Evil Dead Burn, we see a copy of the Necronomicon, right? Like,
yes,
in Evil Dead Rise, we had the version on vinyl. So I'm curious to see if that Evil Dead Burn Necronomicon has anything to do with the original, if they tie it back to the 2013 one, because it kind of looks a little familiar, especially in the drawings inside, right?
So speaking of that, Arturo, which is an interesting point about the 2013 one. So fans have actually spotted within the Necronomicon pages, there's a newspaper cutout that says 4 people die in cabin fire, which is the 2013 people.
Yes.
Like, which is like, okay, like, so that's interesting. So if this is just extending off of that universe, that would also kind of help to explain why Burn is so aggressive, right? And this was the thing about Fede Alvarez's 2013 Evil Dead, and why we still hail it as like the pinnacle of the franchise. Like, I think overall Sam Raimi is the one who gave it to us.
But that's the best iteration of the story is Fede Alvarez.
Yeah. Sure. Like, we thank Sam Raimi for the idea, and we thank him for the comedic take on it, because he gave Bruce Campbell like a career out of that. Like, and
give him life.
Yes, like seriously, like we because of that, like we got to see Army of Darkness, we saw like Ash versus Evil Dead. We're getting these Evil Dead movies, but Fede Alvarez's version was the pinnacle of the idea, just like Arturo said, in terms of aggression, in terms of violence, in terms of just the idea, the character story, the character work. And if you want to be in that universe, you kind of need to like make your own attempt at gore and brutality and aggression. And Burn already has that in spades, more so than Rise did. And if this is also a sequel to Rise, once again, this makes sense. And if this is a part 2 to what Evil Dead Wrath is going to give us next, like, that makes all the sense in the world, Arturo. Like, it makes sense. And in those eyes, like, maybe it's not too much, but then at the same time, you're like, you're seeing a guy fall on knives.
Yeah, exactly.
Trailer,
great, great transition. Because if you guys are watching on YouTube, there was a scene in the trailer where the guy falls right on a bed of forks and knives that his mother was, carefully placing for him to fall on in the beginning of the trailer. And the minute I saw that shot, I'm like, someone's going to eat that for sure.
It's real Chekhov's gun type of situation.
Absolutely. But that portion was why I think I felt a little taken aback, because it was just like, wait a minute, you gave me so much already. I don't think I needed to see this. It would have been cool to experience that in theaters for the first time. But I think their angle on the marketing of this movie is to try and show the audience, hey, this is what you're going to get. This is just a little snippet.
I think that's true.
Join us, because it does look like we are in this one location during this one point in time in the movie. So there is probably a lot more around that we haven't seen context wise. So I am excited to see what else we get. This movie looks freaking bananas, bro.
Yeah, and rather than being stuck in a cabin or stuck in an apartment building, like, they're stuck in this house, and
a bigger house to work with, right? Yeah.
Yes, and I agree that, like, I would have loved to see. I would have loved to wince at that in the theater, right? I would have loved to wince at the fact that he like falls backward on the knives, but the hope is that that's only the start of whatever
You
torturous
ain't
thing
seen
is going to
nothing yet,
happen,
baby.
right? Yeah, and that was the same thing with like the 2013 version. It was like, yeah, we saw deadites, we saw brutal stuff in the trailers, but I held it in high regard, like because I remember like it's one of those visceral theater memories I have.
Yes.
I remember sitting there
Yes,
and
dude.
seeing these things happen and being like, and I remember exactly how I was.
I loved it. I loved it. And it was back in the day, dude, when they still
Yeah.
had the midnight showings on Thursdays,
Yes.
dude.
Yes.
And I was there with my popcorn, about to just witness some awesomeness. Actually, not even knowing that I was going to witness some peak horror. And I just walked out of that theater blown away.
Yeah, it was
And
your BED, which is like before Evil Dead, and
yes.
AZ, which is after Evil Dead, right?
Yes, exactly, and it opened up a whole new world in terms of horror and what can be, shown in theaters, and everyone has always tried to come up to that level. Even Fede Alvarez, has tried to do that with Don't Breathe and Don't Breathe 2 and hasn't been capable to reach that level of horror, suspense, and thrill, that he did with Evil Dead 2013. But here with this trailer of Evil Dead Burn, Tex, I do feel like they are trying to hit a home run here. They're trying
Yeah.
to just square us up in order to just kind of beat us down with this brutality. And I'm here for it, dude.
Yes, I mean, buddies at home, you know how I am with gore. I am not a fan. Like I've said this multiple times on many of these episodes. Go check out our archives; you can find out much more. But I am not a gore fiend. But when you go into Evil Dead, that's what you expect, right? It's like that's one of those. It's one of these franchises where you know what's being sold, and you kind of have to like you're. This is what you're there to buy, right? Like I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
bought in on whatever kind of violent roller coaster you're going to take me. It's fine because this is what I've signed up for. Like, but and that's why Rise disappointed. And so I guess like wrapping our conversation up here, Arturo, it's just I think you're right. Where this, I'm more hopeful for this, right?
Yes.
Than I
Yes.
was with Rise because I have a much better first impression, really.
Yeah, because with Rise, we only had those moments of like, a mommy's burning with the maggots in hell. Like it
Yeah.
was very like just crazy vocabulary being thrown at you in the trailer. But here they're
Yes.
like, no, we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna throw you the actual physicality of this. And honestly, with the teaser alone, like we saw a lot of madness going on, and we were like, yo, what is going on here? Like, I can't wait to see the first full trailer. And we got the first full trailer, and it did not disappoint. I do wish it was a little tamer in terms of what it exposed, because I love the surprise of it all, especially in theaters, like you said, Tex. But you know what? F it, let's bang. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
we're here
it's
already. This is coming out in July. They even pushed the date up for us so we can, go see this even earlier. So I'm
yeah,
excited.
we're in real let it burn territory, right? We're just
Yeah.
like, all right, it's burning, let's just let it burn.
Disco Inferno, baby. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about Evil Dead Burns trailer, Evil Dead Burns teaser, what you think about the Evil Dead franchise in general. Please leave a comment below. Thank you so much for listening. This has been The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. And we are your hosts, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. A big shout out goes to you guys out there for listening and for watching. We have all these episodes up on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast streams. Please like, subscribe, and share. Leave a thumbs up, hit the bell. Big shout out goes to Delvirus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you throughout the years. And last but not least, it is a scary world out there, especially with the Deadites. But we are here to walk you through it.